So I've been driving this car for a little over 2,000 miles now. It is officially my new daily driver and it's a fantastic car. But what's not fantastic is the blue wheels, the blue with the red caliper on a white car. It's kind of funky, it's too many colors going on and I don't like it. So I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna get these wheels re-powder coated in a different color. But I'm also gonna change out the brake pads because it has track pads on it and that creates a lot of dust. So let's change the color to make that a little bit easier and also change the brake pads to make it easier to keep all the dust off of this car.
Hey guys, my name is Cruz. I'm the owner of Parts Remastered here in Roanoke, Virginia. We do custom powder coating. So today we're actually going to be powder coating these Advan TC4s. We're going to completely strip off the factory finish here, go them down to bare metal, get them fully degreased, outgassed, go ahead and get them sandblasted. We're actually do the brush lettering, same as it is from the factory, and I'll kind of show you the entire process of it. So we're just going to use a little bit of aircraft remover. This just helps kind of break down the top clear coat. Some wheels like Advan, a lot of your European wheels, like BMW wheels, M3s, M5 stuff, have a really tough clear coat, even for a chemical stripper. So this just helps break them down a little bit. Just helps break down that clear coat before we throw it in the chemical stripper to remove it all. All right, we just put the wheel in a degreasing tank just to get all the oils, contaminants off of it. All right, so we got it all degreased, blown off. Now we put it in the oven for a few hours and outgas it and just get all the contaminants just bake out of the metal. Then we'll get the blasting and coating. So we've got the wheel fully prepped, we've got it fully sandblasted, we've got the letters brushed. Now we're ready to put the first coat of powder on, which is a soft misty black. So let's get started.
Powder coating is an interesting process to watch. It's not like paint where you spray it on and let it dry. It's almost the opposite. You spray on a dry powder and then bake it in place. We're spraying on a soft misty black color, but it will look very different after it bakes in the oven. After the color coat is put down and dry, we're putting on a clear powder coat on top to protect the wheels but also give it a more depthy look. This also changes the color of the wheels slightly. The wheels look fantastic and they're also a color that will hide brake dust really well, which is great because I'm going to be driving this car a ton. And also I'm going to be driving it not on track pads. That's a big source of where all the dust comes from. Track pads just throw off a lot more dust than like a more street-friendly pad. So we're putting some street-friendly pads on it. These are ceramics, which will put off a lot less dust and they're more quiet. They're definitely not as much performance as the pads that are on there. I don't actually know what the pads are that are on there. We'll find out when we take them off, but they're definitely a track pad. So we're gonna put these, I forget what these are actually called. I think just performance ceramic brake pads. And we're gonna throw these in and then we'll put the wheels on so that they don't get brake dust all over them. I do plan on getting some lug nuts at some point. But these are all I have for now. These are the ones that came on the car. So I know it's not the best look with the rusty lug nuts, but just need to get around to ordering some. Priorities, right? Okay, so there's a couple of things to discuss here. The look of the car is fantastic. I think it looks great. These wheels look great. The color looks fantastic. But you're gonna probably notice that the car doesn't look very low. And if you were to measure the front lip, it's actually 5.5 inches off the ground. So it doesn't look very low. But it's deceiving because there's actually kind of like a lip underneath the lip, and that is 3.5 inches off the ground, which is about as low as I can go without scraping in my driveway, around town, and gas station parking lots. Don't want to go any lower than that. So I'm gonna put a lip on the car to make the car visually look as low as it actually is, because I mean, it's actually 3.5 inches off the ground if you go from that air dam there, and that's what scrapes everywhere that I go. So this is an unconventional lip kit. It's known as the Aussie Boomerang. We got this from Project Aero, and it is a polymer material, but it is thick, it is dense, and this gets bolted up on the factory like bolt locations. So if I want to go with a different lip in the future, I can, but I don't see myself doing that because this seems like a really great option for like a daily driver. A lot of the other lip kits don't have side skirts and rear spats to match, so this is also nice. So another really cool thing about Project Aero is that they don't have bolts and nuts and stuff just sticking out underneath. So if you do scrape the bottom, it won't scrape the head off of a bolt. So they're all countersunk and flush, which is nice. Also, I guess aerodynamically is good. Unfortunately, these side skirts do have to be drilled. There's small drill holes on the bottom of the OEM side skirts. It's not terrible. Still hurts a little bit, but it is a salvage car, so.
All right, Ben, the car looks great. The wheels look great. Love the color on them. Project Aero, the front lip, side skirts. It looks great.
Yeah.
I'd say, I'd call it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. And yeah, come back for more.
We're not done. We got more. We're gonna do more.
We're gonna do more?
Yeah, this is Gears and Gasoline. We don't do just like wheels and a lip kit and call it a video.
I had a feeling I was just gonna go home.
Oh, no. We got more.
Oh.
Huh?
Well, I mean, this is another aesthetic mod, right?
That's more power.
And more power.
And reliability. We can go ahead and throw that excuse in there, right? Check it out. It's also super light.
Wow.
Cream in the crop. PWI.
I show that I live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. Part of the creation, the relations I've got, the only one that keeps me safe, the only one it should try.
All right, so we got the PWI intercooler, and it is the most thermally efficient intercooler on the market. I talked with the PWR engineers, and they have assured me that it is the most thermally efficient intercooler on the market. So it's the best of the best, but not only that, but it's also 11.4 pounds. I just weighed it, and that is about half the weight of the competitors. So that's taking roughly 11 pounds off the nose of the car versus the competitors. I'm curious to see how much the factory intercooler actually weighs, because I don't imagine the factory intercooler weighs that much, but 11 pounds is like nothing, especially on the nose of the car, so that's cool. But also the quality of construction is just unbelievable. I mean, these welds, these dime stacking welds, look at that. Have you ever seen something so gorgeous? And this is gonna be sitting right at the front of the car. Type Rs run really hot, so we need to do the best we can with cooling. I know, talking with some of my time attack friends who run the Civic Type R on the track heavily, deal with overheating issues, and it'll start cutting power when it overheats. So this is gonna keep it cool in combination with the PWI radiator. We've also got the PWI intercooler.
All right, Ben, you got a little bit of damage here. Whoa.
What?
You got some
there's a
major
lot down
damage
there
on the bottom.
I mean, that's clearly from the accident. We saw that in episode 1. We probably just have to replace the whole thing with a PWR intercooler. But also this end tank looks kind of crooked, doesn't it? Like,
whoa.
If there's like a hit.
Yeah.
You can see how this is kind of like not lined up with that. Yeah,
How's this thing not leaking?
That is honestly pretty impressive. Plastic end tanks, which like on radiators leak, and I'm sure if you ran more than factory boost, this would leak as well.
Yeah.
But
well, it's a good thing that we're upgrading.
It is pretty light.
Yeah, I mean.
So I don't know if we're gonna be doing any weight reduction, but we are doubling the size of the intercooler.
Predictions.
I'm gonna say 7 pounds.
7?
7.
I'm gonna say 11.4. Isn't that what the PWR was? 6.8 pounds.
I said 7.
That's how much the intercooler weighs, not Mark.
Yeah, if I weighed 6.8 pounds,
We'd have a problem.
I would not look like this.
6.8 pounds, so we're adding 4.6 pounds to the car.
But you're adding a ton more cooling.
Like double. I mean, I'm saying double. I don't actually know. We could measure the core size, but
yeah,
4
I
pounds.
mean,
If you went with another brand, you'd be adding 15 pounds.
With the intercooler now in, we're off to the dyno to give it a proper tune.
So we are at Bespoke Performance and Fabrication to get on their dyno and get this car properly tuned, because we changed the intercooler, and also the car actually has an aftermarket mid-pipe, so I want to make sure there's a proper tune on there for this car, not just an off-the-shelf tune, and also, you know, eke out as much power and fuel economy and reliability as we can. So why not, right? And I've come to my favorite Subaru shop. And why would I go to a place that does a lot of stuff with Subarus? Well, because I have a Cobb access port, and that's what we're going to use to tune my Honda. How weird is that, right? They've got access port for FK8s, and now, very newly, FL5s. And this is a platform I'm very familiar with, so it's nice to have something that I'm comfortable with, and I can just flash it on the go. So if I'm on a road trip per se, and I need to change from a 93 octane tune to a 91 octane tune, I can do that from the push of a button rather than trying to plug in a computer and everything. So it's very nice to have this, yeah, it's also kind of a nice little flashback to my Subaru days. So let's go ahead and get this thing tuned, see how much power it makes.
Hi guys, I'm Dan over here at EPF Tuning. So what we'll be doing today is tuning this 2023 Civic Type R. We'll be creating a base map basically from scratch. We're gonna basically slowly dial it in and see what we can get power-wise out of the car safely and reliably.
What do we got? What do we got? Oh, not a good number. Something there, right? 243?
Nah, it's not right.
That's not right, yeah.
No right.
So humorously, the car is spinning the wheels on the dyno. but that's because we're trying to do 3rd gear pulls instead of 4th gear pulls to keep the speed down, keep the wear and tear on the engine and stuff down. But it's just literally spinning the front dyno roller. So we lowered the tire pressure, and that didn't seem, I mean, it helped a little bit, but it's still spinning on the dyno. So we're gonna do it in 4th gear, which is gonna put the car at like 130 mile an hour or something like that for the dyno pull. So stand clear of the rollers. But that's what we have to do because it's spinning the, is it front wheel drive problems or is it too much horsepower problems already? It's not making a lot of horsepower. It's making less than what this car has previously dynoed at with the previous owner. This car, I actually have a dyno sheet from the previous owner. This car dynoed 306.
The guys at BFP tell me that their dyno generally reads about 10% low. I'm not sure why, maybe it's because it's a linked dyno and there's extra drivetrain to push, but regardless, if we're gonna compare it to other dynos, we would need to add 10% to the final number. With our baseline number set, Dan started tuning the car for its modifications to see how much power we can make.
Well, we picked up 40 horsepower from when we got here. So the baseline dyno pull was 277, and that's a great example of how this dyno reads really low, because this exact car on another dyno read 306 from the previous owner that had it. So we know the conversion's about a 10% difference between this dyno and that dyno was a dyno jet. So we can consider this like a Mustang dyno. I don't know why it reads low. I don't know if like the altitude settings or whatever. You can make a dyno read whatever you want it to read. So 277 was the baseline, and now we're at 310. So it's a gain of about 40 horsepower. If you take the 10% modifier, it's like 44 horsepower gain, which would put it around 340. I'm not gonna play a Dyno Queen number game here. I mean, it's a basically stock car, but we've gained a good chunk of power. More importantly, the power curve is smooth. It works really well with the intercooler. It keeps the thing really cold. It's so funny to watch the temperature, the intake temperature drop when he does a pull. So that's really cool. The radiator is keeping everything literally really cool. So I think we've got a really good setup here. I mean, it was great before. Keep me in check. Make sure I don't modify this thing out the wazoo. Make sure I don't do a built motor in this thing, please. Keep me in check, because this car is amazing the way it is. Well, there you have it. There's the car in its final form, at least for now. Hopefully it stays like this as long as I possibly can. I don't want to really modify it much past this, and I know I've said that about cars in past times, but I really do like how the car is right now. It's perfect. It's such a good car for driving around town. It's very fuel efficient. It makes a ton of power. Definitely more power than you need for getting around town. It's practical with the hatchback, and it's a modern car, so it's quiet, nice amenities. It's really fantastic. So fantastic that we're actually taking this car on a road trip. Stick around, make sure you're subscribed, and you'll see the YouTube series come out in, probably like a month or so.